Today is Saturday, January 28th, 2017, and it's a super hot video going all over the internets right now. It's blowing up, and the video features my personal favorite, one of my favorites in media, Miss Omarosa. Now, if you don't know who Omarosa is, she has been in the public eye for a very long time. She's been involved in politics for a long time. She worked with Al Gore, with Bill Clinton. Yes, at one point she was a Democrat and she voted Democrat, but not anymore. Now she's aligned with Donald Trump, who she was on the Apprentice for, I think, like most of the time that it was on during the time that Donald Trump had it. I think she was on it for like 10 years. So she's like an Apprentice veteran. So she knows Donald Trump from that, but her past goes far beyond her relationship with Donald Trump. Now, she's been speaking a lot about him in the media, speaking for him in the media, and a lot of people are triggered about that. They can't really handle it. They're butthurt. They're upset. And some of those people happen to be on The View. Now, this was great. This was an excellent interview. She handled everybody very well, from Sunny Hostin to Joy Behar, even Gretchen, who used to be on Fox. So what I want to do right now is shoot to me, and I'm going to react to it live. I have seen this already many times, but my reaction is still pretty much the same as when I first saw it, because I thoroughly enjoyed it when I first saw it, and I thoroughly enjoy it now. So without further ado, let's get straight to it.
Our next guest is actually working for the Trump administration. America first met Omarosa as the supervillain of the first season of The Apprentice, and now she's working for him again as assistant to the... No, you never heard that, Omarosa?
Starting it off early.
That's big screen stuff.
Now she's working as the director of communications for the Office of Public Liaison. Please welcome Omarosa. So, my dear, you look very good.
Thanks, Joy.
You look very nice. We're in red today. So you're working for the Donald.
This is my first time back in 13 years. Oh, wow. I was here on the first season of The Apprentice. Good to be back.
Veteran.
And my
OG
mentor,
veteran.
and who I call the legend of TV, Barbara Walters, was here when I last was here. And it was an honor to be here.
Shout out to the old Barbara Walters. And the new Barbara Walters, Megyn Kelly, but I digress.
So you're working in the White House with the president. What exactly are you doing? And do you genuflect in the morning? That's what I want to know.
What is that? Can anybody tell me what that is? Genuflect?
So I am Director of Communications for the Office of Public Liaison. And really, we are the face, the coordination between the different groups that want to have a voice and to inform the policy that's happening with this administration. And so I'm honored to serve all of the different groups who want to engage with this administration. In fact, right now, I'm planning our Black History Month program, and it's going to be extravagant.
Oh. Well,
yeah. Let me follow up on that.
All day long.
You say you're working on Black History Month.
I love it.
One of your jobs during the campaign was to reach out to the African-American community.
I was the Director of African-American Engagement for the Trump-Pence campaign.
Right, but 94% of Black women did not vote for Donald Trump. They voted for Hillary Clinton. And how do you respond to the criticism that Donald Trump doesn't really understand the Black community, doesn't really...
Well, let's put it in context.
Let me finish my question.
Well, how many questions? Because that's about 3
The criticism has been...
Get it down to one question, please.
He's
Sunny
just
Hostin.
using you for optics and that he doesn't really care about the Black community.
First one, and then we can go through each step. First of all, African Americans traditionally vote Democratic. Let's just establish a historical precedent. They vote for the Democrat. 94,
exactly.
95%.
So don't try to put it on Trump like he's the only guy. Like everybody hates Trump.
Of the African American vote. He doubled what Romney got, and he is very, very excited about engaging with the African American community. Now, your second and third question I really didn't hear, so if you want to go through those again.
The criticism has been in the African American community that Donald Trump doesn't really care about the community, and in fact, he's just using you as optics.
First of all, no one uses me. No one uses me. First and foremost, let me just tell you a little bit about myself, and then you can understand how I got where I am. I grew up in Youngstown, Ohio, in the Westlake Projects, a housing project. So I am the embodiment of the American dream. I grew up on welfare, on Section 8 housing. My father was killed when I was 7 years old. I went to public schools. I went to Central Ohio, got to Howard University, and started to work in politics. So I earned my way to sit in the White House. No one gave me anything.
There you go. Okay? Yes.
And I think that
I love her.
when you start talking about the African-American community, you know, the last administration decided not to aggressively do African-American outreach. They felt that if they helped all Americans, then the black community would be helped. And that,
Yes.
you know, that really isn't the approach that we're taking. We have a very strategic plan of engaging this community. We see what's happening in the inner cities. We see that 56% of African-American men under 30 are either unemployed
Correct.
or not in school.
Correct.
And we want to work to change that. We see the violence that's happening in Chicago.
Why-
It's
excuse me, why do you
unacceptable.
suppose they
It
can't
is
do what you did?
unacceptable to see the
Omarosa.
amount of murders that are happening. 1 second, Joy.
All right.
Because what's happening in Chicago, and there's
Just
not an
tighten
uproar
up, Joy.
that so many people are dying
Hold on,
and
hold
being
your horses.
shot. It's unacceptable.
Okay, well,
and
I'm
so
asking you the
we are
question.
going to address that. And this president already this
he's
week
talked about
tweeted
that,
about
he
Chicago.
talked about wanting to bring
I
in the
want him
federal
to
government.
do anything there is to do to make sure that no family goes through what my family went through. My brother was murdered not even 5 years ago, shot dead in his own home. When I see these families in Chicago, 700 or 800 families had to go through what my family went through. I had to sit in the courtroom with the man that murdered my brother. This is more than just politics. For me, Joy, this is my passion.
I understand what
There
you're
it
saying.
is.
I'm questioning why do you think you were able to make it and all these other people could not?
You know, that's a bigger question than for
Well,
a
does
bigger
three-minute
question,
segment,
racism have
yes.
anything to do with it, for
And,
instance?
and there are a lot of historical things that has happened that other people could answer. I'm going to tell you about my life and my
But why do you
experience.
think President
I was
Trump-
able to make it. One
why do you
second,
think Pre-
Gretchen.
why do
I
you
was
think-
able
Hold
to
on,
make
Gretchen.
it because my
Tighten up,
mother
Gretchen. Don't try to
made
interrupt
sure
her.
that we were in the church, that Christ was the head of our lives, that education was at the top of
There
every
we go.
single thing that we did.
I think
and
it's quite
she
common
kept
amongst
us
the
out
black
of
community.
trouble and out of
Come on.
street.
Yes.
And that's
Joy.
why I made it. I can't speak because we're not all a monolith. The African American community
Correct.
is so
We're not all a
diverse.
monolith.
But my mother
We're diverse.
and the sacrifice she made
Well, we
after
should be, at
my
least without
father was
digress.
murdered is the reason that I am successful
And I agree
today.
with all those things that you say, and hats off for all
Thank
of your
you.
hard work in getting to where you are today. I guess my question is, what is it about Donald Trump, President Trump, that you see that will help change the way in which African Americans are in our communities?
Well, I think that you all have gotten to know him as a business mogul, as an
Reality
entertainer,
star. Reality star.
as a reality star, now as the president of the United States.
Ha
Joy.
ha.
But I know him. I know it's got to burn your
They say
blood.
anybody
I
can be
mean,
president. He proved it.
it's got to be really. Joy, I know it's got to be really, really hard.
I know it's
after,
tough.
You
I know
the
it's
last
tough.
year and a half of all the things that you said
But he's
about
here.
Donald to see him sitting in the Oval Office. I know it's got to be hard for you, but I have to tell you
hard.
that I know
It
him.
kills me, as a matter of
and I know it
and I
does.
love that.
But here's the great thing. You all know him as the president. I know him as a friend.
That's right.
I know his heart. I know the things that he's seen has never been reported on, and probably folks won't ever
So we
talk
shouldn't
about.
listen to what he says?
I'm talking about my experience, Joy.
Yeah.
You can listen to what you want.
Joy is a big-time
you
hater.
decided to continue to hit him and hit him and hit him and not even give him a chance in his first
I'm
week.
waiting for him
but
to
I will tell you
apologize.
this.
I want to ask you, though,
You want who?
I'm waiting for him to apologize for all the things he said about
You?
No, not to
please.
me, not to me, to
just wanna- I
veterans,
just
to
wanna-
John McCain,
to the
to the
disabled.
handicapped, the disabled.
Lies, lies, lies.
I think the message that he has about personally about school choice, about opportunity, about jobs, I think that message did get to a lot of people, and that's why a lot of African Americans, a lot of people who were in
Yes.
poverty, people of all genders and races came out. My issue is
African
that
Americans did not come out for Donald
they
Trump.
came out more
Live
than
air
they had for
horns.
Republicans in the past, and that
They
means
did,
something.
and you have to give some credit to that, Sunny.
Women did not.
I think-
But
I know,
you also have to
problem-
move from campaign now. He's the president.
Right,
We're no
but
longer
here's the
campaigning,
here's my
so
question
those
for you.
same lines don't
How
even
do you
work.
bring those? How do you bring the people in who are saying, you know what, no matter what, we're doomed? Although some of these policies,
Sorry for the
school
rough
choice,
cut.
whatnot, have a positive outreach, I think there are some who feel that because of the statements he's made that are divisive and whatnot, that we're doomed, and they have this philosophy of we're doomed. How do you
like her
reach
face.
those
She's
people
always
to
calm,
say, hold on a second, listen
but
to what we're
ready to
actually
bite
trying
you like
to
a
do
like
and give
a,
us a
a
chance?
snake.
Well, I think that once people
Or cobra.
see the results, I mean, he's about delivering and being productive. And we've already seen from this first week that he is going to do exactly what he said he's going to do. And we can trust that if Donald Trump says he's going to give jobs, he's going to bring back manufacturing, that he's about America first, then that's what he means. And we've seen that in 5 days. And people who even disagree with him have to agree that this first week has been probably one of the most productive weeks of any administration.
You gotta admit
seems
it.
that
You can't
sometimes
deny
he
it.
gets a little off track as well, and he goes back to the crowd size at the inauguration and now the voter fraud investigation with 3 to 5 million people voting,
Legitimate
illegally.
claims, by the
and
way.
now you have Jason Chaffetz from Utah, member of Congress, who says, I'm not going to start an investigation into this because I don't see any evidence of it. Is this a distraction for President Trump?
Well, I think that there's a time of
investigate to
adjustment.
find evidence,
he's not a
Jason.
politician. He's never held office, and he's moving from private sector to governing, and it takes an adjustment time. I think in the first 5 days, he's done a spectacular job of dealing with the most important high-pressure job in the world. And so we have to give him time to make that shift. And I believe that you will see that this president is going to be incredible for this country. And I am excited about what's happening with this administration. I'm very honored to be a part of it.
What if they find out in the voter fraud investigation that Hillary won the election? Will we do it over again?
That because she didn't win.
There's a possibility she won by 3
She didn't
million
win.
more votes.
She did not win. She got wrecked in the electoral.
Anything is possible, but I think
states.
What's more important right now, I think about the families who lost loved ones in the tornadoes. I think about the families that the president talked about this week who became victims of violence because of illegal immigrants. I'd like to continue to talk about the election. It amuses me, but the truth is we have real issues. We have real issues and there are real Americans who have problems that we have to address. So you all can sit at the table and continue to talk about those things in the media, but we have a job to address.
Joy is so triggered.
People have exactly what
She's so triggered, and it's hilarious. But she get over it.
The inauguration, millions of women marched around the world to protest President Trump. Many were offended by some of the things he said along the way, but how did you remedy this as a woman?
That's all that is.
Did any of this resonate with you?
Well, first, I'm an American. I'm a very proud American. So let's start with that. And I know people like to put labels. Omarosa's black, she's a woman, she's this. I'm an American first. And seeing those women march last week, it made me very proud. It's one of the most important fundamental rights that we have in this country. The right to assemble, the freedom of speech, and the right to protest. I love seeing that. And there is a march going on.
As long as you don't get violent, that's the key.
Right now, the March for Life, that I hope that you all will give the same
Yes,
type of
March for
coverage.
Life. Shout out to the March for Life.
Yeah, we covered it yesterday.
Shout out to the women that are marching for the unborn who do not have a voice.
Be afforded to all Americans, and I'm so glad that the Vice President is probably preparing to speak at the March for Life right now.
But why do you think it's so divisive? It's so divisive in our society right now.
It's politics. Politics is a tough game. This is my second time in the White House, so I'm not really new to the tension that comes with it. What's new to me is just this.
She worked for Al Gore and Bill Clinton.
To paint Donald Trump with this negative brush without giving him a chance to do what he said he was going to do.
Can I just ask you this? We've been talking about how divisive this election is, and Gretchen's been talking about how divisive this election is. We often say that it comes from the top. He
trying to blame Trump.
This
it ain't his fault.
Campaign.
The riots have been going on long before Trump ran.
I think the media contributed to that.
Stop with the BS, Sunny Hostin.
He stood by everything that he said. And now,
that's a real name.
Let me just say, he didn't make fun of a disabled reporter, but you can continue to say that. If you say it enough, people may start to believe it. Let me just say this as I close this. Y'all can keep throwing things at me. I'm not going to really fall for that. What I will say is the American people can listen to me right now and right here. We are committed to making this country the best it's going to be. We're not going to look in the past. We're going to look forward and put this country first. And that's what's not been happening in the last 8 years. We're going to put America first. We're going to put people back to work. We're going to make sure people are safe. And that's what this president is about.
Same as you,
This is a table for you all to negotiate things that you want to talk about from the past. But I now work for this country.
That's
and
right.
I take my job very seriously.
Can we see his
and
tax returns, do you think?
See, Joy.
It's like I do anything. See, you're not even listening to her talk. You're not showing any kind of respect. That's why she has to be so assertive and take kind of control of the whole stage.
Joy, as I see we only have 1 minute left. My handsome fiance traveled all the way here from Jackson.
She just took the whole thing by the reins right there.
And he is in the audience. Girl, I'm talking about my man. No, boo. I'm talking about my man. We're getting married. I'm so glad that he's here. He's a Democrat. I'm a Republican. We get along just fine.
He may want to see his tax returns.
Do you want to see his tax returns? Raise your hand if yes, the answer is yes.
I just want to know if you're going to take his last name.
Oh, of course, he's my husband. He's going to be my husband in April. Right. And I'm so happy that he's here with me, and he brings me such joy. And I hope that you one day can find that kind of joy. Joy.
When they go low, we go high.
That's right.
Wrecked.
And I feel
Super
like
wrecked.
I can get high right now.
Hilarious.
Thanks to Omarosa, and we'll be right back.
Oh boy, that was great. Omarosa is great. She's a strong person. She has that face where it's like it's very sweet And it's a beautiful, she's very feminine, but at the same time, she's powerful in her femininity. A lot of these so-called feminists, what they do, they take on characteristics of men and then they purport that as strength, but really it's just confusion. You can be strong in your femininity, also in your masculinity. And Omarosa exudes strength in her femininity and does not come off as masculine. You did what I'm saying? So I say shout out to her. I definitely enjoyed it. You know, this was great. You know, a lot of these things in the campaign that the left tried to do, that the people like The View tried to do, they obviously are not working anymore. They didn't work during the actual campaign because he won, and they're not going to work now. So I don't know what they're going to do going forward. They're kind of like dogs chasing their tail. They don't really know what they're looking for, how to find it, or what to do with it when they actually find it. And I say shout out to Omarosa for being a brave face for the Trump campaign. Along with many others, you know, Diamond and Silk, Contrita Pearson, Kellyanne Conway, everybody. You don't have to be a black woman or a person of color, which is kind of, I don't even want to talk about that and I digress. But my point is you could pretty much be anybody. If you stand up for something, stand up for something. Don't be afraid. Don't let people on the left or you know, any subversive group that is not necessarily aligned with the left, don't let them take you off of your path. Don't let them gift you off your square. Just keep going forward and keep doing the right thing. So I thoroughly enjoyed this. I'm looking forward to seeing much more of this as the actual presidency goes along. We got a long way. We got at least 4 more years, probably 8. And then when Mike Pence comes in office after Donald Trump decides he wants to be done or his, you know, term limit is up, that's going to be even more of the same. So I can't wait. So what do you think? Do you think that Omarosa handled herself very well during this so-called interview, which is more like an inquisition? You got people like Sunny Hostin trying to grill her and trying to come with these little witty comments. But after a while, she pretty much just kept quiet because she realized she was in the midst of an alpha female and she's just not built like that. So she'll just stay to the corner and keep quiet and just let her talk and do whatever she got to do. But do you think that Omarosa was rude, that she was mean, that she was arrogant? I saw the original video on The View on their YouTube page, and I was seeing comments, oh, she's rude. It's like, nah, you have to be assertive. You got to be able to have strength, and you got to be able to have confidence in whatever you're saying, especially in a situation like that, which is like a lion's den. You got individuals that kind of don't mean you any good. So you got to be able to be witty, quick on your feet, and you got to be able to respond and kind of take control of the situation so you don't get bombarded with just complete BS and, you know, frivolous questions that don't make any sense, trying to embarrass you, trying to embarrass the person that you work for. So I say shout out to her. That was a great hire by Donald Trump, not just because she's black, but I think her being black got something to do with it because her being black gives her license to say and do a lot of the things that she says and she does that must be said and done. You know, if you got a white male in there, it's easy just to pretty much just cast him away. Oh, you're a white male, and just not listen to what he says. When you got a black female in there, what are you going to do? She's a woman and she's black. So what are you really going to do to her? You can't really do too much. You could try to be upset and triggered like Joy Behar, but then Omarosa had the last laugh like she did at the end, which was hilarious. You could say it was petty, you could say it was mean, but I thought it was funny. They kept coming at her throughout the entire interview, and she came with that last little quick whip, and that was great. That was the icing on the cake. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Whatever your comments are, let me know in the comments below. That's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.